What is up, guys? We are doing our first ever podcast. We're with my boy Captain Randy.
Captain, what's up?
Captain Randy, and I'm Austin Kroos, and we're just gonna chop it up with y'all. Obviously, we haven't done this before, so
Just laid back.
Yeah,
Don't
just
really
a
know
laid
what
back
we're gonna
conversation.
talk about, but
Talk about some fishing adventures that we've got going on.
see where it goes.
Yeah, just see where it goes.
Tell me about your trip on the St. Joe. We'll start off there a little bit.
Hell yeah. So the St. Joseph River in Michigan, I don't know much about it. I will start off by saying that. But my manager at Cabela's, shout out to Mike Warnick. He is the GOAT.
Steelhead goat, yeah.
He's a
He's really dialed steelhead fisherman.
He's a good river fisherman in general. Like this dude, like any moving water, like I feel confident to go talk to him and just get his recommendations.
Like there's a few people I feel like when you talk to them, you can get a vibe right away. Like if they're good at fishing, if they're not good at fishing, like what they really understand. And like as soon as I started working at Cabela's, you can just tell like this dude knows what he's talking about in almost any type of fishing.
Yeah, and he's one of those that just grew up fishing. You know, like literally just grew up loving fishing. Just did everything he could to just keep fishing, and for that reason, you know, any opportunity, a guy like us at 20.
Was that the first time you went on this boat?
That was like the second. Trying to think. I think that was the second time.
Really?
Yeah, I went out with him on the Fox River once for smallmouth, and it was an awful day. I'm not gonna lie.
Really?
Yeah, it was really bad. We skunked.
Did you catch none?
We skunked, dude.
Did you catch anything? Not even crappie or anything?
We didn't even catch it.
Really?
I mean, we were so, and that's another thing. He's just like me. He's stubborn, dude. He's like, you go out there and you get skunked. The last thing you want to do is end your day on a skunk. You know what I mean? So like, we grinded. I had to work at 2. I think he dropped me off at the landing at like 12:30, but he grinded like an extra 2 to 3 hours until, you know, he.
Oh, after he dropped you off,
he
you
caught
went back
2
out?
little dinks. Yeah, he literally dropped me off, went back out in his boat and caught 2 fish. So he didn't skunk. I skunked. But yeah, it was an awesome time on the Fox. But then we went. He invited me out to the St. Joseph River just last week, and it was awesome. It was my first ever experience trolling, and you know, if I'm being honest, like I've grown up casting. Like I don't know about you, like I don't know what you grew up doing, but growing up, I literally bass fishing, casting jigs, casting spinnerbaits, stuff like that. So trolling was always one of those styles of fishing that I just never was really interested in.
It's almost intimidating too, honestly. Like when you look at it, there's so many like moving parts and swivels and shit like that. Like I don't really know. Like not even like trolling seems so simple because you're just dragging it behind the boat. But like to get like started before you can even do it, like I feel like I never even know like where I would start with it.
Dude, and that's exactly it. It was a combination of like part of me was like, it's not much to it. It'd probably be boring, and then part of it was like. It's honestly a little bit too, like once I got the job at Cabela's and started to talk to trolling fishermen, I was like, it's a lot more complicated. There's way more to, I mean, just like anything, there's
like it's
way
more
to it
it's
than
not like
than
the actual like,
yeah,
you're not casting for them. It's more like, I feel like you have to get so dialed like before you even put a line in the water.
Yes.
It's not actually like when you're doing it. That's why I don't really feel as like intrigued to it too. I like more like feeling the fish.
Right. And so it was a unique experience, something completely different, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And the reason why I honestly loved it was because it was like you know when you work in like a jerk bait or something, you cast out a Vision 110, you're working it back and you get that feeling that's like you just know you're gonna get smoked. You're not even gonna get bit, you're gonna get smoked. Just a smallmouth's gonna smoke
just
the
the
shit
anticipation leading up to him to hit it.
Like that feeling, there's nothing else. Like that's what gets me going. Like that feeling is what keeps me going in the fishing.
Is it just consistent when you're trolling then?
Dude,
that's what I never know.
Bro. Especially with Mike, like he's just the GOAT river fisherman. We're out there doing what he does all the time. Like he's literally driving 2 hours to Michigan instead of driving an hour and a half or an hour to Lake Michigan on our side, Wisconsin.
Yeah, I mean he's not a stupid guy. He's got to be doing that for a reason.
Yeah, he's doing it for a reason, and I got to be in the boat to see him actually do it, and I was just feeling so dang good. And honestly, fighting the fish we only caught 2, but oh my god, dude, fighting a steelhead on like a nice trolling setup.
Yeah,
dude, like his setups, it almost felt like a fly rod. Like when it was pulling through the current, like it reminded me of fighting a smallmouth with a fly rod.
Super moderate, like really light action rod.
You feel him, you
just
really feel him, and then you let him take it out because it's strong current. You're literally sitting in one spot
How long does it take to land one
and
when you
trolling
hook them?
40 yards out. Like mine, I gotta look back at the footage, but I think it was at least 2 minutes.
Really? They
Yeah.
play like the
Yeah,
drag pretty good.
yeah, and I know Mike's was a little bit. I think his was a little bit
Who
smaller,
caught a bigger
but
one?
I
Oh,
caught
you
the
did?
bigger one. Yeah, I'll show you the pictures. But I was looking back at literally in the car on the way before we came in, or before I came in. I was looking at the pictures and I was like, I swear his fought way harder than mine did.
Really?
Like, I mean, I've got it all on video, so I'm really curious to look back and.
Were they both the same sex, like male, female, or?
I think they were. I think
Both
they were
females?
both females. Yeah, and one of them, actually, I think mine was a stocked. His wasn't a stocked, so it had its back fin.
The adipose tip.
Adipose. Yeah. I can't remember the. That was another thing that I learned. I never knew that like an adipose fin was a thing. I didn't know that was a thing, and then I also didn't know that meant that that's a naturally reproduced.
Did Mike
fish
give
fin.
you an opinion on if it was like useful or not for the fish? Did he talk about that at all?
No.
Like the adipose fin, because a lot of people.
What is it?
People say it does like nothing. Like I forget the term for that, where like an organ has no purpose or doesn't really like have any benefit for an animal. But apparently the adipose fin has no purpose. But then there's some people that say for smallmouth and a few other species they use it as like a sensory organ too. So they're like opposed to people clipping it. But
interesting.
I mean, I don't really give a shit.
Yeah,
I feel like the fish survived fine.
Right. No, that's
like the brown I caught had a pectoral and an adipose clip, and he was swimming perfectly fine and fought hard and everything, and obviously healthy. It was so fat too. So
huh, that's super interesting. This whole trout and salmon scene, it's been like my saving
It's like a
grace,
different world,
dude.
honestly.
It's a whole different world. Coming from a whole bass fishing background, like it's just so much fun to be trying something new.
Yeah, I don't even know how I would really
experiencing
describe it
something
to someone who hasn't done it. Like it's almost like if you're trying to mix like bass fishing with like saltwater fishing, like the quality and power of the fish, but then you're almost targeting them like the same type of way you would be if you're bass fishing too. So it's like crazy unique, definitely. Especially like even when you try to look up videos, I feel like for like the behavior, if you're trying to learn about the fish, there's really not that much you can like. There's like the government studies and like marine biologists and all of like the actual like scientific work behind the stocking of the fish, but like how they behave and like what they do like fishing wise, like how you could look up like smallmouth in this lake in Michigan in the spring you're going to be doing this or that. I feel like if you look up that in Lake Michigan, like you always end up finding like, oh, Colorado trout are doing this, or like Lake Michigan, like offshore, like in the summer, this is like a pattern, but like there's not really that much for like shore fishermen or like as like an actual species that people target.
100%. Yeah.
It's like incredibly unique in like so many different ways, honestly.
It is.
That's why it's so cool too. It's so much fun.
It is. And I think it's just one of those things that, I don't know, it's got to be underrated. Like, I don't understand. Living as close as you are to the lake, like I feel like, oh, yeah, that's true.
But like how we were just saying, like honestly, like trolling's such a simple thing, but I feel so intimidated. Like not intimidated, but like almost like why would I want to go put in the work to do that? Like it's kind of complicated. Like I'll just keep like doing what I know how to do. Like I feel like so many people think that like bass fishing then too. They're like, oh, I'll just keep going to the same pond, keep catching the same bass. Like I don't want to like. Even though they kind of view it in their mind like, oh, I could go do that, like they don't, because they realize like it is kind of complicated and like don't really want to try it or really even put in the work to figure it out.
100%. Yeah, it's the truth.
Get out of like a comfort zone.
Yeah.
Try something else too.
Mm-hmm. And the coolest part for me is just experiencing like the different ambiance too. Like,
yeah,
and go out to Lake Michigan, it almost looks
areas.
like the ocean. Like it's so.
And it changes so much too. Like when you're fishing the Root, the Milwaukee, like in the harbors, like you can be like in the fucking like slums, or you can be in the like middle of nature in the woods. Like catch them like so many different places. You see people catch them in like Ohio too.
No, I didn't.
Like all around here. Like I saw a post on Instagram today. It was like Ohio Steelhead Factory, and it was a guy with like a giant female steelhead too. I had no idea. Like streams, Ohio, Indiana, like all of those are steelhead like factories apparently too. My buddy Nick, shout out Nick Wolford. He caught like a 30-inch steelhead in I forgot what river, but some river in Indiana, and he just got like a replica. He sent me a picture. It was pretty sick, but. There's giants. He said they caught like 7 or 8 last time they were out there too. Like all of them, like close to 30s.
That's awesome.
So there's like so many places you don't even realize like you can even catch them too.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do too. I want to go out there next time and like just explore. Like not even. I was talking to Cam about that. We should just go out there and just honestly just walk around, bring like light gear, like maybe a backpack with like one box in it and just one rod and just walk the banks and try to like find some new spots too.
100% be down. That's like during the king season. That was one thing that I wanted to do so bad because obviously for the king salmon stuff, it's like all in the middle of the night. So you're going out to the harbors. It's the sunset.
You can't even really tell, like,
really see
what looks like a good spot or not.
Yeah. So I've always wanted to like
Explore.
go up the route and explore. That's why I've loved the brown stuff.
Yeah, because you can walk around a little bit more.
Yeah,
too,
more
and do all
daylight
that.
fishing. You can see more about what's going on. Like you said, just explore more areas in the.
And I feel like even with what we have been doing though, like it's always like, I don't know, like we bring like stuff to a spot we think is going to be good. We'll fish it and like, I mean, like we do walk around, but it's never like we're exploring like truly new areas. 100%. And like I feel like it's partially because we have so much shit with us because we're confident in that one spot, but I think we just need to force ourselves like one time, bring like 1 or 2 rods and just walk around a little bit too.
No, I think that's and we need to force each other and ourselves to just like flow fish, you know, like little
just
stuff.
Do
that
stuff
we
that's
don't
more uncomfortable.
Yeah, like. Because it's so new to us, we have been doing what's working, and what's been working for us.
And it's been working well too.
What Eric Hadia tells us,
yeah.
You know, it's the square bills, the chartreuse. If it ain't chartreuse, it ain't no use. Like, you know what I mean?
And like you figure out little patterns and stuff, and like when it keeps working, like you just keep doing it. So like, why would you want to change it up? But then like when stuff does change, like it's I think important to try to figure it out because like. I've caught fish in the tribs, but not like consistently enough where I feel like every time I go out there, I know I'm going to catch one too. And like, even in the past, like we would catch them sporadically, like didn't really truly understand like why I felt like I was catching all of those fish in the past. But the crankbaits, like in the harbors, like jerk baits, all of that, like I felt like I understood kind of what the fish were doing, how they were reacting. And even through the ice then too, I felt like somewhat confident, like how they were behaving, all that. But now in this like, purgatory of like ice and water, like I don't really know, like because some of the spots that are good I can't go to because I don't know, like you can't really ice fish it, can't really open water fish it, but then the other spots, like is it the spot that you went to that's not as good, or is it like that technique that's not as good that you're doing? So it's like I don't know which one. Just have to commit like a whole day, I feel like, to do it.
It's definitely a challenge. Like, there's no better way of putting it.
That's why it's so fun. It's the same reason, like, any big fish that you chase is so much fun, because if it was easy, like, that's why I was literally just shitting on bass fishing people. Like, and I love bass fishing, but I mean, if you're just going out to the same pond, catching the same quality fish every single time, like, honestly, I don't find any fun in that, because you need, like, that little bit of chase. Like, even if you're going to a pond, I was talking about this with Charlie yesterday, like, if you're going to a pond that you know has, like, 6s and 7s in it, even if you're not catching them, it's that same thing as the trout bite. Like, you're willing to keep going back there because the potential is there. Like, if you don't have that potential, like, it's worth it to go a few days without catching them just to know, like, the quality of fish that are in, like, Michigan, too.
Very well put. Very well put. Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, that's why I love musky fishing. That's why I do love the different things other than bass fishing, because it's like,
it challenges you and it makes you better in the other types of fishing that you do too then. Yeah,
and I don't know, I think that's well said, like I said.
I mean, it's like, it's what makes anyone who like enjoys fishing. That's why anyone wants to keep going back to fishing too. Like, if you didn't have that, why would you? But I want the ice to come back. Like,
see, he wants the ice, I want the open water.
Either way, like, I'm fine with the open water too, but honestly, like, what we're talking about, all this bullshit of like, I need to learn this, like, yes I do, but at the same time I would just love to have ice or have like open water.
Yeah. See, for me, this is literally my first season doing the brown.
This is my first time doing the ice, and like the ice is awesome. Like, I cannot
the ice is addicting. The ice is, I've only been out twice, but so far, I mean, it is something special.
It's cool because like the areas that we liked in open water, you can just go there and actually see what it's like. Like, put your graph down and actually look at it, like without a boat. Like, you can actually see and access all of the water you actually want to go to.
Right.
What the fuck is going on upstairs?
It's all good. But yeah, honestly, the ice, I do like the ice, but it's a little bit intimidating.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like where we live, I should be completely fine with it, you know, but I'm just not. I grew up doing a majority bass fishing, open water fishing, never ice. Like, the only ice fishing I did was very little panfish ice fishing,
See,
and
I'm
it
like,
was not like
I've done a like
it's
I've
not
done
like
it.
Lake Michigan ice. It's just
Lake
not the
Michigan
same.
ice is like just like the trout open water. It's completely different than anything else. But like I've done a decent amount of ice fishing in my life, but I've never like fallen in love with it in the way I fell in love with open water. So I felt like it's not like I was as excited to go ice fishing for the trout at first, but then as soon as I did and caught some good ones, like it was like, all right, I'm just as excited about the ice fishing for the trout as I was open water. Like it's almost more fun in my
Right.
opinion. Like just seeing a fish, like because I didn't like ice fishing so much before, like seeing
I
a
think that's
fish,
exactly
yeah,
how I'm
like
gonna
seeing
be
a fish that I
for other
love so
things.
much, like coming through like a fucking tiny hole, like that was so cool. Like it like changed my perspective a little bit on ice fishing too, but it almost like ruined my perspective for like normal ice fishing now too, because like I mean maybe like big fish still like pike and walleye and stuff like that, but the trout are still just like so different. Like there's almost like no other fish I'd want to target after targeting them.
I feel that, dude. I literally feel
Like there, I don't know what anyone like someone who didn't want to. I don't know what else you would want from a fish either. Like it's beautiful. Like it's in an awesome place to catch them. Like
yep.
the water is cool. Like everything about them, the way you catch them, the way they eat it, the way they fight, like everything about them is so cool. I don't know why anyone wouldn't want to, honestly.
No, I 100% agree, and I think that's why it's the only thing I can think of is it's underrated. Like it's just
And people don't even realize about it too. I feel like
yeah, and that's why I'm thankful for like little
people
stuff like this podcasts.
yeah, and people that in our area like Hadia and like a lot of other
Yes.
people who just post about trout and like I mean even people I've just met out there fishing, like my buddy Adrian I just met fishing in Milwaukee. That's a cool story. I was downtown Milwaukee the first time. That picture I just showed you, the first steelhead I ever caught.
Yeah.
Kayla and I, my girlfriend, we went down to Milwaukee and we were just staying at a condo and we went to the Milwaukee Bucks game and just like hanging out on town. Like went out, did some fun stuff, went to some bars and shit. And then we were just walking around by the lakefront right by McKinley and we were walking right past that white bridge and there's some like I was like talking shit as we're walking up to like I'm like there's some bum up here like he thinks he's gonna fucking catch something. He's throwing like his meps on a bait caster with straight braid. And I was like, who is this fucking goon? Like he is not gonna catch anything. And literally as I'm saying this to Kayla, he's just like doubled over with this bait caster. And I'm like, oh damn, he actually has one. And I'm walking up and he's like really, really going like this fish is dogging him. And I'm like, he's walking down, and I see his net's like 20 feet behind him now, and he's going further and further away from it. So I start walking up closer. I'm like, hey, do you want some help with that fish, buddy? And he's like, yeah, please, can you grab my net? And I run over there, and it was like a 18, 19-pound brown, like honestly, maybe even a 20. Like it was a really, really big fish, and like I got his number, and then started. You met him.
Yeah,
too.
I just met him last time I was
him.
out.
Yeah.
That's what's up, dude.
But he's like he like was a good fisherman then, but the straight braid thing threw me off, and I was like, what are you doing with some of this stuff? But he's a good fisherman, and he catches some good fish too.
I can tell talking to him, and the info he gave me was really helpful the other day. So yeah, he's.
I don't know. We'll see though. He hasn't caught some the past couple times. Neither have we. So
yeah,
we'll
dude, it's been a grind.
Really
it's been a
Adrian.
grind. This whole winter has been a grind for myself, but I am really excited. It's just getting started, and like I said, I mean, this is just a total new beginning for me. Like this is just a whole new journey. Chasing these chromes and chasing these browns, like.
Oh, someone came
fun.
into Anglers today and reminded me of something else that we should do. We should do blues in like Powerton, LaSalle.
Ooh, the
blue cats in the winter.
Okay, hell yeah, dude. I know Sean does.
Yeah, I was gonna say Sean had like 100 fish days.
Yeah.
Sean is I used to work at. We used to work at Cabela's together.
Yeah, that's actually how we met each other.
Yeah, so that's a good place to start. We worked together at Cabela's. Now I work at Anglers. Sean is one of the buddies that we both had when I worked at Cabela's. He still works with him at Cabela's now. But anyway, he used to go out there and target giant blues in LaSalle and Powerton. And I mean, they would get numbers of them. I shouldn't say giants, like mostly numbers, eater size, and giants. A few are far in between, but we should.
I know back in the day he used to catch.
Yeah, like that's what the big ones like.
Lately, it's been a little bit of a.
The past few years, like Powerton
but...
and LaSalle in general, like have gone down in quality, but you can still catch a lot of fish. We should do that with him.
Dude, I'd be down anytime. That's another one. Mike Warnick and Sean Birmingham. Both of these dudes know how to fish and have been doing it since they were literally as tall as they could. Like
like the same thing as us, just like grown up, like old.
They've just been doing it since they've been out of the womb, and it's just awesome. Great people to learn from when you're in the industry, when you're just a fisherman in general, like just a casual fisherman, like you want to find those people that are good at fishing, that have been doing it for their whole lives, that have been, even been doing it for 5, 10 years. Like those types of people will teach you a ton about the sport. And in general, Sean, he's a good one.
Yeah, he is. He's an
And
awesome
I would
fisherman.
love to go back in the boat with him.
Oh, 100%. I wish I've never even gone in his boat, fished with him, but like,
Dude,
he's like one of those guys. Like, as soon as you talk to him, like this guy is dialed in everything he does. Like, he is like, when I worked at Cabela's, like, all respect to everyone who's worked there, everyone I talked to. There's a lot of people that knew a lot about fishing, but he by far stood out to me personally. Like, he knew like a lot about seemingly every species, and that's what I want to do. Is like be like, maybe not the best in every species, like bass. Like, I'm not the best guy in that. Walleye, I'm not the best guy in that. But be someone who's like dialed in almost every species, and if you go anywhere, you can kind of catch them. And I feel like that's like the exact type of fisherman that he is. Like, you can drop him somewhere, and he'll be able to catch fish. Like, he won't starve to death on an island.
Yep.
He'll catch something for
100%. Yeah, he's just got that fishy vibe to him.
On the flip side, you can tell some other people too when you talk to them. Like, they talk a lot about fishing, and they haven't had as much experience. And like, I feel like a lot of people get stuck where they think they have like experienced a lot, but they truly haven't. And I mean, I feel like even myself, like, I get stuck in that with stuff where I feel like, oh, I've like smallie fished this one spot like 5-6 years, like I know it so well, and then like I start throwing something else and catching them even better. I'm like, damn, like I like checked myself. I'm like, I thought I knew this spot, and like I didn't even know it. Like, you can always I feel like learn from someone else, and even like yourself too.
100%, dude.
Like, in some, like those guys who you get that vibe when you talk to them, it's like, it's that reason, like that same thing. Like, you can tell like they don't like want to learn about something. Like, it's like they're stuck. Like, oh, I know how to do this. I know how to do this. They don't have that little thing. Like, oh, like
confidence is great. Confidence is wonderful.
But you should always like listen to what people are saying.
It's not,
even if it sounds stupid, like just listen. And like, if you don't agree with it, like just like maybe like you'll think about it when you're there and be like, I wonder why that did work for that guy. And like, even if you don't change to it, like you change one thing you did and you might catch a fish too. Like, just having like an open mind to little things, that like everything about fishing, honestly.
Yeah, in order to grow in anything, like you can't close yourself off to learning from other experiences that other people have. Like, and fishing is an ever-changing thing. Like, it's something that I think is so cool because it brings you together. Like, it brings you together with other people, because you can't be fishing in one spot at once, or all spots at once. Like, that's the coolest part about the whole Lake Michigan stuff. You have a couple buddies. So one guy's fishing up north, one guy's fishing down here. Like, you figure out a bite, you stay coordinated, and you guys catch more fish. Like,
it's like a team effort. Then.
Yeah, like it's almost like the humans versus the fish. Like, it's cool, and it's
and that's just like the mindset I feel like more people have to have about fishing too. It's not like, oh, like I get like spots, like you don't want to like just blatantly like go like, oh, here, like this is this spot, I'm gonna take everyone to this spot, burn this spot out so no one else can fish it. Like, it's like, it should be like a give and take. Like, if you're helping someone, they can help you, and like everyone's kind of like, if someone's fishing in a spot, you're not just gonna go stand next to them and fish it. And like, you're also like, if someone's fishing in a spot that like, and you just got there, like they don't know that you fished that. Like, that could have been a spot they fished for 5 years too. Like, I've had so many people blow up at me at ponds and stuff, like, this is my spot. Like, I'm like, well, I've never seen you here before, and it just so happens like I've fished this for like 5 years too. We just haven't seen each other because I fished it like 4 or 5 times here and there. Like,
right.
And then that guy's there every day.
Yeah.
This is my hole.
Yeah, I think it's like a wheel. I think life is literally like a wheel. You give to that wheel, you're gonna get back from that wheel, and as long as you're, respectful and stuff, everything works out.
Because people help you out with spots then too. Like, I've had plenty of people, like when I haven't been catching them, trying to catch a new species or like a new spot, like kind of help you out. Like, I always told you about that Asian dude on the route. Like, he didn't even speak English, and like he was so nice. Like, he was whacking the browns when we were fly fishing, and me and my buddy were sitting over there like probably 30 or 40 minutes of casting for him, and not even a one, and we're just watching him just every single time. Like, he was just like, and he was catching cohos in between these browns, and like eventually I just walked over to him and was trying to ask him, and he's like, I don't know, like I don't speak English. Like, and he's just like, oh, like the fish, and I was like, yeah. And he like grabbed my rod and just like re-rigged the whole thing for me. He's
No
like, "You're good."
way.
And he gave me like some of the spawn sacks, and he's like, "You'll catch them." And then we like literally caught a brown like 10 minutes later.
Dude, that's awesome.
And then it was literally spraying eggs all over the place too. So he just gave us some spawn netting. And he's like, "Here, tie 'em," and we're just picking the eggs out of the rocks and like tying
That's
spawn
so
sacks.
cool.
So like you literally, he didn't even speak English, but he still
Right.
fucking helped us out.
Yeah.
Too. Like you never know.
Right. That's super. That's an awesome story. Yeah, that's what it's about, guys. It's literally, it's just giving back to the sport that we all love, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But
Let's see where we're at.
yeah, honestly, we might as well just do a quick closeout, just because we're a little bit unprepared. We're trying to get all the filming stuff set in stone. But thank you guys for listening and watching this first podcast. We will definitely be hoping to do more of them soon.
100%.
Sounds good. Well, we'll see you guys next time. Peace.